Hello everyone. Today we'll be looking at the different tests in HUR SmartBalance. Let's first look at weighing a client. Selecting the Tests tab on the home screen, you'll see three options: the two tests and weight. You can weigh clients without selecting a name in the search bar. However, if you do not select a client, their height information will not be brought over to figure BMI. Don't worry, you can do that manually on the weight screen. Choose the weight icon. You can adjust the client's height in the upper right corner here. You'll see the black dot at the bottom of the screen line up with the client's height. With the client standing normally in the center of the platform with their feet approximately a shoulder width apart, select the blue button with the white triangle in the bottom right corner. After a 5-second countdown, weighing begins, and the black dot moves to the color-coded BMI, body mass index category. After standing on the plate for 5 more seconds, weight and BMI are displayed. You can now record the client's weight in their profile. If the client is assigned the weight test from SmartTouch, weight will be recorded there. To exit, select the little door icon with the arrow pointing left. Next, we'll look at the stable-unstable Romberg test. Again, with the Test tab selected, choose the Romberg test icon. You have to have a client selected in order to perform the Romberg or limits of stability tests. You'll be asked to enter a passcode to begin the test. Enter the default code, which is 753159, to enter the test. The number seems random, but when you type it, it forms an X on the number pad and is easy to remember. For each part of the Romberg test, the goal is for the client to stand as still as possible, unassisted, for 30 seconds. There are 4 parts to the test: eyes open, eyes closed, eyes open unstable, and eyes closed unstable. With the last 2 unstable sections of the test, the client will stand on the blue balance pad on top of the platform, as shown here. For the test, have the client remove their shoes and stand on the platform as shown here. Feet at approximately a 30-degree angle with heels close but not touching. The client should not hold onto the rails during the test. As stated in the navigation and settings section, if you have the mirror platform movement and testing box checked, the client will need to face away from the monitor during the Romberg and limits of stability tests. If unchecked, they need to face the monitor during the test. With the newer version of SmartBalance, during each 30-second section of the test, the screen goes black, so facing away from the screen is not necessary because the client can no longer see their movement while testing and try to overcompensate. Selecting Skip ignores the current section of the test and moves to the next. To start the eyes open portion of the Romberg test, select the Run button. You will see a countdown before the test starts, then the screen goes black. I have sped up the 30-second test for the sake of time. After each section of the test, mark it passed or failed. You might mark the test failed if the client is too unstable to stand with their eyes closed, maybe stumbling, talking, jumping, etc. You can also choose to redo that section of the test. A check mark appears when a section of the test is completed. I have sped up the last 3 sections of the test for the sake of time. Again, for the last 2 unstable sections of the test, the client will be standing on the balance pad. When the test is complete, save the test information. You can name the test, enter the supervisor, and make comments if you wish. You can also check whether or not it was a baseline test, to which you can then compare to later tests. After saving the test, you are immediately taken to the analysis screen, where you can analyze all tests that have been taken by that client. For more information on test analysis, see the Test Analysis training session. Lastly, let's look at the limits of stability test. After choosing the client to perform the test, once again, with the Test tab selected, choose the limits of stability icon. As with the Romberg test, you will need to enter the 753159 passcode to begin the limits of stability test. This test also has 4 parts: where the client leans as much as possible in a given direction without a corrective step for 8 seconds each. The directions are lean forward, lean rearward, lean leftward, and lean rightward. Again, the client should remove their shoes. This time, however, the client can stand normally with feet approximately a shoulder width apart in the center of the platform, similar to the image on the screen. The client should not hold onto the rails during the test. Before starting the first section of the test, select the Reposition button to mark the client's center of pressure. Then, select the Run button to begin the first Lean Forward section of the test. After the countdown, the screen will go black for 8 seconds. During this time, your client should be leaning forward as much as they can without taking a corrective step. After each section of the test, as with the Romberg, mark Pass or Failed, or you can redo the performance. On the left, you can see how far the client was able to lean in degrees, as well as a visual of how they did. The meaning of this will be explained in the test analysis training session. Before starting the next section of the test, if the client has moved their feet, again, have the client stand normally in the center of the platform and select the Reposition icon to set the center of pressure. I have sped up the next 3 sections for the sake of time. Again, at the end of the test, save the test information and check whether or not it was a baseline test. After saving the test, you'll again be taken to the analysis screen where you can analyze all tests that have been taken by that client. And that's it. We'll take a deeper dive into analyzing and comparing tests in another session. Thank you so much. I hope this has been helpful, and I wish you and your clients the absolute best.